Yeah, look, we know that according to the Syrian president, there have been indirect talks, even though we have learned today that back in April when al-Sharaa was in the UAE, he met personally with Israeli officials from the Mossad, the National Security Council, as well as IDF intelligence. And that laid the groundwork for what we're seeing right now, which are significant talks that are leading towards peace, normalization with Syria, which is something that I didn't in my lifetime think I'd be reporting on, let alone hear it. But what is interesting is that we're talking about phase deal. This isn't, the first step is not going to be already peace, because we're talking about half a century of enmity between Israel and Syria. Ultimately, this will first have to see a security agreement signed between the sides, then Israeli withdrawal from southern Syria, the Syrian part of the Golan Heights, and also Israeli commitment to not interfere with internal Syrian issues, such as relations between the new administration in Damascus and ethnic minorities, including the Druze, Alawites, Kurds. But there is no, according to my understanding, there is no Syrian demand for Israel to return the current part of the Golan Heights that is under Israeli control. That was the case over the past 40 years, even before the fall of the Assad regime.
Right, and that's Syria. And Israel, of course, was also hoping to sign a normalization agreement with Saudi Arabia soon. That, of course, was derailed by the Hamas invasion on October 7th. Have there been any updates as to where we are with that?
So we know that as long as the war in Gaza is ongoing, Saudi Arabia refuses to resume talks over normalization with Israel. But according to conversations that I'm having with a Saudi source close to the royal court, that is not where the list of conditions end. The Saudis are also conditioning Hamas relinquishing control over the Gaza Strip as a condition for resuming talks with Israel. I think that is significant. They don't just want to see an end to the war and the Palestinian Authority enter the Gaza Strip, but they want to see Hamas gone. The Saudi source said as long as Hamas is still there, the job isn't done, and without removing Hamas, there will be no peace, adding that Saudi, Emirati, and Qatari efforts to establish a new administration in the Gaza Strip are ongoing, in addition to the efforts by the mediators, Qatar, Egypt, and obviously the United States in reaching a ceasefire agreement.
Is there not a contradiction there, Ariel? The Saudis want Hamas removed from Gaza, but they want Israel to stop fighting Hamas. Do they have another proposal as to how Hamas can be removed? Well,
I mean, we know that for instance, the Egyptian proposal wants to see a committee of technocrats that will have elements from the PA, elements from Hamas, once removed, not directly affiliated, obviously, under the auspices of the PA. But what we're hearing from the Saudis is that is not enough. They're positioning a demand that you could say the majority of the Israeli public supports, that any end to the war, any agreement for post-war Gaza must see Hamas completely removed. And so that would be a position closer to the Israeli side than the Palestinian side to moving forward with Gaza, which I think is very interesting. But the fact that they're laying down Hamas's removal from Gaza as a condition for normalization with Israel, I think that is very significant and shows exactly where the Saudis stand, what they think about the Palestinian issue. Ultimately, we know that as long as the images that are currently emerging from the Gaza Strip, they cannot move with normalization. But what we're hearing from Riyadh is that is not enough. They want to see Hamas gone.